Welcome back, students. Today we're going to be talking about payments. We are unlocking a new term in our time value of money pentagon that we have here, okay? However, we're going to be solving for the future value of a set of ordinary annuities or payments. When you see this, when you see ordinary annuities, we are talking about PMT in the financial calculator. You don't have to know what an ordinary annuity is at this point, but I'm just throwing that term out there so you guys can get used to hearing it. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Leave me your question. Send me any time value of money question in the comments and I will solve it in a video for you. And don't forget, you can download this file so you can follow along. All right, so quick overview. We're going to introduce you guys to ordinary annuities. Again, when you see that, you should be thinking PMT in your financial calculator. Of course, we're introducing you to that term. We're going to be talking about the new time value of money timeline, time value of money terms, and the use of the BA2 plus. Okay. All right. So before I start, I don't want to use these videos as a lecture. They're really for me to solve the homework problems that I give my students, but I do feel like I need to talk about it at least a little bit here. So let me introduce the payment or the ordinary annuity. So first thing, there are three key elements to payments, okay? So actually, before I get into that, let's talk a little bit about our timeline, because as you can see, I've introduced a new set of blocks here. So here we have our number of periods, we have our interest rate, this is our RY, we have our present value, and we have our future value. Let's erase that here for a second. So we are introducing this new set of blocks, the payment blocks, okay? Now, let's go through the three elements of payments. So they need to be a series of equal payments. What does that mean? That means that if we say that PMT equals $100, that means that they need to be equal for every single one of these blocks, okay? The payments occur at fixed intervals. So if let's say n is equal to 3, which is convenient because we have three little marks here. We have time 0, we have year 1, year 2, and year 3. For these payments, they occur at the end of the year, okay? So this initial payment 1 occurs at the end of the first year. Payment 2 occurs at the end of the second year, and so on and so forth. And then the payments are finite. They must end. So if we say that n equals 3, that means there will be 3 payments of $100. They don't go on forever, okay? All right, so just a little introduction into payments, little crash course to get you started with the problems here. Now remember, we're solving for future value. We're solving for future value in these questions, but we're going to introduce the annuity or payment terms, all right? So you'll notice that in this time value of money timeline, I do have the payments in blocks, but I can't really do that in the questions, and you'll see why, because, you know, in this case, it was convenient. I have 3 years, I have 3 blocks, but you can see in the questions, we'll have 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. So it really becomes, you have to sort of just manage that as we go through the problems, okay? All right, so let's jump into the questions. So you want to save for a down payment on a house. So you plan to deposit $8,000 at the end of each year for the next 5 years. Assuming an annual interest rate of 12%, so here's the question I'm going to highlight. What is the future value of this 5-year ordinary annuity? Okay, it's a big question, so don't get overwhelmed. Let's highlight our terms really quick, and then we can start to put that together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my block from, I'm going to circle this. This is going to be my payments, okay? So there are 5 years, right? Let's go through the question again. So you plan to deposit $8,000 at the end of each year for the next 5 years. When you see that, right, at the end of each year, that's a set of payments. So this becomes my payment, right? So for the next 5 years, this then becomes my N at an annual interest rate of 12%. What is the future value? So remember, let's go over to our box here really quick. So remember, I always like to highlight, what am I looking for? I am looking for the future value. So I'm going to put a question mark there. So let's do top to bottom. And how many years are we talking about? We're talking about 5 years. The interest rate is 12%. The present value. Now notice, there is no present value here. When I went through this question, there was no present value. Present value is separate from the payments. Remember, in order to qualify as payments, they need to have these 3 key terms. A present value term would look something like, hey, you initially start off with $10,000. Okay, that's not in this question. So the present value is going to be 0. Your payments are going to be 8,000. Now, this is a negative 8,000 because it's money that's actually leaving you, right, to go get deposited. So it can be invested over 5 years at 12%. So let's put these numbers in our timeline just so that you guys can get comfortable with this. So the first thing I'm going to do is N is 5 years. The interest rate is 12. Present value is 0. Future value is what we're looking for. And here we have negative $8,000. So remember, this is at time 0. This is at time 5. So then we have, let's do these markings here. So we have 8K, and then you have some other bubbles here, right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4 for a total of 5 payments. Each one of these contains 8K inside of it, right? Let's see here. I don't want to, but this is our stream. This is our stream of payments. Okay, for 5 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we need our financial calculator, right? We're going to be using our time value of money keys with the financial calculator. We have all the terms we need here, right? From top to bottom, we're going to do left to right. Remember, always second clear your time value of money. So N is 5 years. The interest rate is 12%. Present value is 0. Payments are negative $8,000. And then we're going to compute our future value. So we have $50,822.78. Now, one thing I just want to be careful here. This is negative 8,000. They're all negative, right? That's money that's leaving us every year to be accumulated and invested. So what was that total amount? 58,278. All right, and that's how much we would have for that stream of payments. Pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy. What it comes down to is understanding and pulling out the terms from the question, right? So what was new here was you plan to deposit $8,000 at the end of each year. That should be a signal to you that that's a payment or an annuity, an ordinary annuity. All right, so that was pretty much it for the first question. Let's keep going here. Okay, so very similar question. Let's grab our highlighter. You are saving to buy a new car. You plan to deposit $2,500 at the end of each year, for the next 4 years. Assuming an annual interest rate of 6.5%, how much, so here's a question, how much will you have at the end of 4 years? Okay, so what am I looking for? I'm looking for my future value. So let's go top to bottom here. N, number of years, I have 4 years. The interest rate is 6.5%. There is no present value here again. There is no other number besides this 2,500, right? And that's telling you that it's being invested at the end of each year for 4 years. So there is no present value. And then the payment is a negative 2,500. So let's keep going with our timeline here. 4 years, interest is 6.5%, present value is 0, future value is what we are looking for, and this is time 0, and this is year 4. So then we have, let me see here. Okay, we have our first year, our second year, and our third year. So we need our payments, right? We're going to be investing to, I'm going to put 2,500. Oops, sorry. 2,500. And you'll need to, I won't draw these circles out for all of these, but this will be the same amount in every single one of these, right? Negative 2.5K, negative 2.5K, negative 2.5K. All right. In the future, I'm just going to write the first one and assume that we know that it goes all the way toward the end. There are 4 payments, right? It's finite. So let's put these values into our financial calculator. We're going to second clear our old work. So left to right, or top to bottom here, we have 4 years. The interest rate is 6.5%. Present value is 0. Payments is 2,500 negative. And we are looking to compute the future value. Okay, so 11,017.94 cents. I want that in red. What happened here? Okay, 11,000. Okay, that's what we would get, right, in 4 years, based on these 4 payments, compounding at 6.5%. Okay, all right. I think it's pretty straightforward. It's a pretty straightforward question. The next one is going to change things a little bit. We're getting a little bit more complicated, but nothing too crazy, okay? We'll have a few more questions left. So, my highlighter, your client plans to save for their child's college education. They currently, look at this, they currently have $2,500 saved for this purpose. They can invest $5,000 per year for the next 10 years. If the annual interest rate is 6%, and here comes the question, what will the future value of their investment be? Okay, let's break this down. So what am I looking for? Always what am I looking for first, right? What will the future value? In this case, I'm kind of giving it to you, right? What is the future value? In other questions in the future, it might just be, what is the total amount they will receive? Things like that. But in this case, obviously, we got to start somewhere. So top to bottom, and how many years are we talking about? 10 years. Interest per year is going to be 6%. The present value. So this is interesting, right? We have $25,000 and we have $5,000. So look, it says currently have, today, the present. Okay, so we currently have $25,000 that we're going to put to work. That's why it's negative. I will link a video if you're still confused about the positives and negatives. I don't have time to cover it here, but I'll link a video so you can understand that better. The payments are $5,000 payment. So let's go to our timeline. Okay. So now we have all of the terms. Now we're using all the terms of the time value of money. This is fantastic. So we have 10 years. The interest is 6%. The present value is 25,000, and we are looking for future value. So we have time 0 here, and we have, 10 years there. This is the middle point, and this is year 1. So I'm going to pull my stream of payments here, and that's going to be negative 5,000. So you have to imagine basically a stream of 10 other little bubbles, right, for each of the years. There may not be 10 there, but each one of those containing a $5,000 payment. I'm not going to do that because it won't fit anyways, right? But I hope at this point you guys can visualize what I'm talking about, that this represents 10 payments of $5,000, right? Okay, let's put this into our financial calculator. We're going to second clear our time value of money. So number of years, we have 10 years. We have a 6% interest rate. We have a present value of negative 25,000. Our payments are negative 5,000. We're making payments, so they're negative. So now we're going to compute the future value, and we're going to get 110,675 and 17 cents. Let's see here. Let's just double check that that's right. That's correct. Okay, so I think what's important also is for you guys to think about, what does that dollar amount mean, right? What is this? What does this dollar amount of 110,675 and 17? Ooh, that's a funky looking sign. 17 cents mean? Well, it means that after starting off with $25,000, after making 10 payments of $5,000 at the end of each year for 10 years at 6%, then you should expect to have this much in your account after those 10 years. Okay? All right. I hope that's starting to sink in a little bit. All right. 2 more problems and then we're done, I promise. So, highlighter, you want to save for a down payment on a house. And so far, you've managed to save $55,500. You've managed to save, right? That's what you have today. Your plan is to invest $20,000 per year for the next 5 years. If the annual interest rate is 6%, 6% on your savings, and here comes the question, what will the value of your investments be in 5 years? So again, we're talking about the future. What will it be in 5 years? Looking for future value. So top to bottom, how many years are we talking about? 5 years. What's the interest rate? 6%. So the present value and the payments are the only place where you might hesitate, right? The first two, the years and the interest rate, should be straightforward because they only exist once. So in order to pull out the payments, look for the one that has a per year assignment to it. So $20,000 per year, right? So that's how you know that's a payment. So negative 20,000. So that must mean that your present value is the 55,500 that you currently have now, today. Let's put this in our timeline. So we have 5 years at 6%. We have a present value, the amount we're starting with, right? 55,500, which is negative. And we are looking for our future value, 0 years, and it's going to be for 5 years, right? So I'm going to just pull down my first payment here, and that first payment is 20,000. Okay, and remember, there's going to be 5 of these $20,000 investments in total, right? All the way to year 5. I wouldn't put the 20,000 there because it's just going to take too much space. Okay, but I hope that visually is helping you guys. All right, let's grab our financial calculator, clear the old work, left to right or top to bottom here. So 5 years at 6%. The present value is what we have on hand today to be invested, 55,500. right? And then we're gonna put that to work, and then we're also gonna make payments, $20,000 payments at the end of each year. And then what will that get us after 5 years? Compute future value. After 5 years, we should have $187,013.38. So $187,013.88, or over here in our future value box, right? $187,013.88. Did I get that right? Oh, not 88. Sorry, 38 cents. 38 cents. Gotta get that right. Those cents are important. 38 cents. Okay. All right. So now you're using all of the time value of money terms. This is perfect. Now, in this case, we're looking specifically for future value. But in the future, you'll see that we can start, as long as they give you 4 of the terms, you can start looking for any of them. All right. So don't worry. We're still just looking for future value. This is the last problem. I think this is a little simpler. I'm gonna close this off on a simpler problem, I hope, right? So you want to save for a dream vacation in 3 years. You can invest $2,500 per year, key term, right? Per year. And the annual interest rate is 6%. You could also, this wording could have also been you expect a return of 9%, or the market, average is 9%. It could be something like that also, right? So where's the question? How much will you have saved up for your vacation? This is simple, easy. So looking for future value, top to bottom, how many years? 3 years. Our expected return, or the interest rate in this case, is 9%. There's no present value here. It doesn't say we're starting with any dollar amount, so that's 0. And we have $2,500 per year, right? Minus 2,500. So simple. So 3 years, interest 9%. There is no present value, and I'm looking for this future value here. This is 3 years, right? So 0, 3 years, first year, second year, and then my payments, right? So my payment is negative 2,500, and then the same here, and then the same here, right? Negative 2.5K, negative 2.5K. Okay, I wrote them in because there's only 3 years, so it's simple. All right, so I would, usually I launch into the time value of money, but I really just want to pause really quick and give you guys just a way for you to check your work, right? So if you think about this, these are 3 payments of 2,500, right? So if you just stuck this money under your mattress, right, you would expect to have $7,500, right? But because this payment here is being compounded 2 years, we know that money is growing. And this payment here is being compounded by 1 year, we know that that money is also growing. So we know that the answer must be larger than 7,500, because that's just if we put that money under the mattress, right? In this case, we're investing it at 9%. So we expect it to be larger. That's an easy way to check. Sometimes I'll get answers from students that are way lower than expected. Had they just added up the payments, that amount would have been larger than the answer I would have gotten. Okay, so that's a quick way to check what the floor number might be, if you want to call it that. So second clear. Okay, so left to right, 3 years. Interest is 9%. There's no present value, but I'm just going to put it as 0. And I do have a stream of payments that are going to be negative $2,500. And then I'm going to compute my future value. So the future value is $8,195.25. Okay, that's what we expect to get in 3 years for our savings. So that tells me, look, this is the floor. This is the actual amount. That means that this money here this money here and this money here grew. This compounded twice and this compounded once, right? Now, this payment doesn't compound because you actually make this payment at the end of the third year. So it doesn't have any actual real time to compound, okay? Don't worry if you don't fully understand what that means at this moment. You will in due time and with enough practice problems, okay? All right, so some takeaways. Keywords to look for when you're dealing with payments. So keywords when you're dealing with payments, all right? So at this point, I've only taught you about payments, so you don't know there's another type of payments that's coming, but at this point, don't worry about that. These are ordinary annuities. So you can see, can invest X per year. That means that should be a key to know that you have a payment. So X dollars at the end of each year. So very similar. So if neither of these are mentioned, meaning if it just says your payment is going to be X, then it's just an annuity or an ordinary annuity, which is just your payment. Okay, again, don't worry so much about that. As we get deeper into the different types of payments, it'll start to make sense. All right, guys, I don't know how long this video went, but I really hope it was helpful. I hope you got some value out of it. If you have any questions, please leave me them in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.